Hey guys, Mustang here bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at the Tech Kale and Kefla EZA on the new Carnival LR Kale and Kefla leader skill. So of course we are over here on the private server, as you guys know. I did not pull Kale and Kefla, nor did I pull Hit, because what we want to look at here for the subject of today's video is the best build for the Universe 6 team. Now, we've talked about this category quite a lot over the last week or so with these videos, talking about ways that they could potentially save the category, EZAs that we need to see, and things like that. And of course, when we got the data download, we only saw the Tech Kale and Kefla details on Twitter, so that straight away kind of made it clear that they weren't dropping any other EZAs at the same time. And we got the data download that of course showed that that was the case. So the Tech Kale and Kefla has been the only real change to the team. And she replaces, at least in my opinion, the STR Kale. She doesn't stack quickly enough that even with guard, she can be good enough defensively towards the end. And don't get me wrong, this team absolutely is not perfect at all, but I think this is probably the best build for the Universe 6 team. I'm still a bit iffy on the physical Magetta, because obviously he isn't very good. The only thing he really provides to the team is this super attack. He gives allies 30% attack and defense for 2 turns, because his support for Universe 6 and all allies, right, attack and defense 20% on this team, because everyone's Universe 6, it's only when attacking with 12 or more key. So if we want to use him as a floating support unit, nobody gets any benefit from this. And like, he's not good enough to be put in slot 1. I mean, his defense is 170,000 at the start of the turn. Now obviously he does have guard, because we have a full Universe 6 rotation, but I guess to be fair, he receives an attack, he gets 200% defense. So he jumps up to what? Like, he'll get hit and go up to what, 400k-ish? No, because it's 450, 500k-ish with guard. Which, I mean, if he was only going to take a normal attack, that's fine. But realistically, we don't want to break up the rotation of having Tech Kale and Kefla and one of the LRs, right? So we're just going to go ahead and do this. Him orb changing, though, obviously is very helpful. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll grab this for you. He gets stunned if he gets super attacked. That's the other thing as well, that like putting him in slot 1 isn't particularly helpful, unless like this turn there are no attacks, because he could just get supered, get stunned, and then he doesn't do his attack. So then not only do you not get the support buff from his super attack effect, you don't get the when attacking buff anyway, because he then ends up not attacking. So his design is definitely very weird. If he just gave that support and it wasn't when attacking, he would probably be like a go-to floating support for the team, because he gives that extra bit of support, and then obviously his super attack is buffing the next rotation as well. So that's all pretty good. But yeah, I don't know, his design's a bit weird, but like I said, the team is not exactly flush with options, right? We really should have got the Int Carba EZA at the same time as the Tech Kale and Kefla. He was their banner unit when they originally released. They have done this in the past, where they have actually EZA'd the sub EZA like banner unit at the same time as the actual main unit. It's not something that happens very often, but it has happened before. And so I think in this instance, it's one of those times where like it really should have happened, because the team is just not good enough without it, right? So I think what we'll do here, the interesting thing about the Universe 6 team as well is that we have a lot of stacking units. So like Hit really wants to stack, Tech Kefla wants to stack a little bit, because obviously when we get to the very end of the event, we won't be able to dodge against Jiren. But if we get enough stacks with Tech Kefla, she obviously has type advantage. She can be okay as long as she doesn't get super attacked. But Hit, of course, we want him to stack as well. He can build up quite quickly, so it's not the case of we have to keep him on rotation the whole time, otherwise he's going to be terrible. But obviously we do still want him to get some build up before we get deeper into the fight, right? So get some stacks off of him here. Obviously the physical Kefla, part of the LR card, reversible exchange, she guaranteed dodges the first attack of every turn. So in a situation like this where she's only taking 1 attack at the end there, we know that we can put her there and she's not going to take any damage. And then I guess we'll just float off the other Kale and Kefla. That should actually bring us in line for... Actually no, she'll come back on turn 5 now, that's annoying. Because ideally what you can do is try and get the rotations set up so that you get the physical Kale and Kefla to return on turn 6 and 7 respectively, and then that will mean they can transform, like reversible exchange into Kale, like straight away, which I think is good. Kale is much better than Kefla in my opinion, just to be there to be that like solid slot 1 tank. So we got to float her off. I guess we'll let these guys go first because we do want them to, we probably want them to stack more. But yeah, first turn they did 3 attacks that were all supers, and they're at 1.4 million defense start of turn. Now remember, the big thing is going to be when we get the chance to use Kefla's active skill, because physical Kefla, if we're running them on a team where, you know, we don't so much care about the rest of the team because there's not a lot of other Universe 6 allies, it makes the most sense to use Kale's active skill because it buffs the unit themselves. But on this team, physical Kefla's active skill is obviously a permanent buff to all Universe 6 characters, and we have 2 of them because we're running the double physical Kale and Kefla leads. So if we use both their active skills, everybody gets this like double permanent buff, which does include a little bit of ki, so that kind of helps out. I mean, for the most part, ki isn't an issue, right? It's the units that require a certain number of orbs, so the ki itself is not actually that important. But at least we do have Magetta for the orb changing. Get the 6 orbs for Kefla, get her attacks off here. Of course, STR Kefla stacking attack. Now when it comes to the overall quality of the team, STR Kefla is one of those units that she can still build up to being able to do like good damage, but against the tougher bosses, like, she will die to a super attack, right? And so it'll be interesting when we get to AGL Jiren. We kind of want to keep some of the abilities like hits, time skip for the Ghost Usher turn, stuff like that, so that we can kind of avoid Kefla having to take hits from him, because post super attack and with the double Kefla active skill buff, she might be able to tank his normal attacks, maybe. So I mean, she is a risky unit to bring into events that disable dodge, to be fair. But obviously Tech Kefla perfectly set up to handle this event up until we get to the dodge disabling phase, because she can dodge every single enemy 100% guaranteed, because they are all Universe Survival Saga units. So dodge all of these. Ideally we want to see Kale drop a super in this first slot. I mean, a hit probably survives after attacking, even if he doesn't dodge it, but would be nice to, of course not though, right? Would be nice to have this super launched at the character that literally cannot take any damage, but I guess it is what it is. So hit gets the crit, second attack hit jumps up to 12.5, you get a third one as well? Yeah, oh no, additional normal. Unfortunate. Alright, there we go. Jump up to 17.5 down. Because yeah, the number of times he attacks within the turn, he gets a very significant increase in his attack. And of course he action breaks as well, so there you go. Now we choose to believe that that was in fact the super, but we expertly avoided it by getting the action break. And then Magetta's super now buffs everybody else on the next turn. So let's see what we're looking like here. Because yeah, with the Magetta support, that's going to be quite good. Because yeah, what are you at now? 2.67 million. Okay, that's pretty good. So yeah, we keep Kale on Kefla on. Actually, this is a perfect opportunity to not have her on the rotation when there's this many attacks in the last slot there. But what can you do? So grab those for you. There's a lot of orbs here, but it's kind of awkward. Do that. Because yeah, we do have, well, I guess we could just get those. We do have Kefla's active skill, of course, changes all physical orbs to STR orbs and can only be used once, but I guess we could probably use that on a turn where we could do with a heal. But yeah, remember Tech, Kale and Kefla, as long as they attacked 3 times in the previous turn, which they always will if they have a Universe Survival Saga ally on rotation with them, they get the extra 20% dodge on the next turn. So these guys have 70% dodge every turn. I guess the only way that wouldn't work is if like the enemy's on low HP at the start of the phase and they do like 2 supers and that kills the boss, and then obviously they didn't get to attack 3 times. But for the most part, As long as the boss doesn't die to their initial 2 attacks, they will always do a bare minimum of 3. And it doesn't matter if the first one from their passive that is a chance to be a super, it doesn't matter whether it's a super or not, they still get that build up of the dodge chance, right? So those guys can be very, very good. Obviously their defense gets to a point at some point where you can just put them in slot 1 anyway, regardless of whether they're going to dodge or not. But obviously we ideally would rather they dodge. And yeah, Kefla not going to have to worry about taking any hits in slot 3, because even if Kefla doesn't kill, there's no way Kefla wouldn't have finished her off at the end. So there we go. We can move on to Tech Kefla. So this is where we can now transform with Kale. So we want to get stacks. This is I want to figure out the best way to do this, because I want Hit to be getting his build up as well. But Kefla definitely needs to get enough build up to be good enough to go against Jiren. So I think what we'll do is we'll put you in slot 1. We'll get the... Oh, of course. Actually, no. Let's go back. So what are you on now? Kefla's on 388. Hit's on 664. We're going to use Kefla's active skill. It's not going to do a huge amount of damage, which is fine. We don't really want it to be fair. We just want the buff. So now everybody has the permanent 1 extra key and 16% attack and defense. So she goes up to 451. I mean, that's an increase of like 700k defense, basically. Not 700, 70k, which it's not a crazy amount, but for start of turn. But when you start throwing all the modifiers in and stuff like that, it's not too bad. So now we switch over to Kale. Then we grab all the orbs so we get the additional attacks. I mean, I guess, actually, to be fair, in some situations, it might seem counterproductive, I guess, to, like, be doing less damage. But in some situations, it might make sense to use Kefla, get the 23 orbs so she gets guaranteed dodge. Not that it matters, because obviously Kale would tank regardless, but just so that Kale, as much as it's cool to see, and it's good to do the big damage, like this, Kale's going to do the 5 supers minimum turn, because we got the 23 orbs. But I suppose you could say that with the number of units on this team that benefit from stacking, that maybe it's better to actually not be doing so much damage in this phase, at least. Because Kefla, I think, only supers for about it's only about 3 million, I think she supers for. So obviously, staying in this phase a little bit longer and getting a little bit more build up for our stacking units is probably something that would be a good idea. So you could argue that it's better to not have Kale do the big 23 orb turn, because then it gives our stacking units more opportunities to attack, ready for the later phases. But let me know what you guys think. I guess either strategy is valid. I guess the problem is you don't want to get to the very last phase when dodge is disabled and have any of your stacking units, their defense is just too low for them to like tank normals relatively well. That would obviously be very, very bad. So hopefully we should be good. Hit, now that he's, well, not really transformed, but, you know, changed his stance. He now greatly raises for his stack. So his defense is going to be getting quite a significant increase with every single super attack that he does. So even though he's getting floated off here, getting another 3 supers in. We still, of course, have the active skill, which we're going to save either for an awkward... Because that's the thing, the next phase after this is the one that has the rotation locking, which is incredibly annoying. And then going from rotation locking into a dodge phase is or dodge disabling phase is pretty horrible. But either way, we'll see how we go here. So we get the orbs for you. Thing is, if we put Kefla in slot 1, she will kill. They have 4.4 million. I'm pretty sure they can't take damage here. So we'll do this. Obviously, we're going to kill on this turn because... I mean, there's just no way we don't, right? In fact, we'll go ahead and do that. So, Tech, Kale and Kefla are at 4.49. So, 4,494,000. We'll use the other active skill for Kefla. Hopefully, he doesn't kill. Yeah, because it really doesn't do a lot of damage, but that's fine. We don't want it for the damage. And then these guys, now they're at 5.1 million. So, they're perfectly fine in slot 1, even if they don't dodge. Which they still can, because they super attacked 3 times last turn. So And then we get one more super off. 33.2 million they're at now, which is pretty good. So we'll do that. Finish you off with the crit as well. You'll love to see it. And then we go to Int Jiren. And now we have the rotation locking, which is super annoying. And of course, he's rotation locked Kefla in slot 1. So going to go ahead and get rid of that. At this point, as much as I like to do no item runs for like challenges and stuff like that, when it comes to doing the showcases, like any event that rotation locks, it's just like, yep, I'm bringing a Senzu Bean to that event. So we'll do that. I guess we could grab those for you. There we go, because then we can still get the 6 orbs for Kefla. And get 9 orbs for Kefla. Alright. So yeah, rotation locking, despite being a thing, is annoying as heck, but dodge disabling is not the same thing, like in the same phase, which is good. So Tech Kefla obviously can still just sit in slot 1 and dodge everything. I'm pretty sure Int Jiren has a damage threshold as well, so if Tech Kefla doesn't crit, yeah, she'll do 0 damage. But that's fine. I mean, to be honest, the more times that she attacks, or more times that she supers and does 0 damage, the more opportunity she has to get supers in. But the counterpoint to that, obviously, is we don't want to be in the rotation locking phase for too long, because we can very easily get the rotation locked to a point where we just can't live on that turn, right? Because remember, in a normal red zone, because we're on the private server, that's why I've got so many items, but in the normal red zone, you can only bring 1. So if you're bringing a Senzu Bean to deal with the rotation locking, like, that's all you've got, right? Is two rotations that you can clear the lock, and then you just got to hope for the best. So those are about 28 million here with Kefla. Nice, get the third super, 29.5. So yeah, next time she's super, she's going to be over 30 million as well. Pretty good. But yeah, I want to try and save transforming Tech Kefla and Kefla until we get to AGL Jiren, because then we can't dodge, but we fuse into Kefla and we have type advantage. So okay, yeah, she still takes double digits from the normals, that's fine. Okay, so Kefla locked in slot 3. The first attack of the turn is the super. Hit has what, 70% chance to dodge? Oof. Do we trust the 70%? Or do we put them in slot 1? Because if we take a look at, let's bring up the red zone here for Jiren's stats. Goku Family, or Goku Story, Red Zone, Universe Survival Saga. So yeah, Jiren's super does 4 million, but he also greatly raises attack, so it actually does like 6 million. So, and he has type advantage. So they actually would still take big damage from his super attack, to be fair. Super awkward that you're locked in slot 3. Again, rotation locking, super annoying. I guess we'll just use our other Senzu Bean. I don't want to risk it, the 70%. I mean, 70% dodge is one of those things. You can rely on it most of the time. But, man, it is always super disappointing, especially when we're trying to do, like, a showcase video or something. And you're like, you'll dodge, like, 3 normals in a row and then eat a super when you have a 70% chance to dodge. It's quite unfortunate. So, we'll go ahead and leave Kale in slot 1 here. Kale will be perfectly fine. The massive amount of defense that she gets when she gets hit. Yep, 63. Double digit damage. She does get sealed, which means no attack for her. Well, no super attack for her. So she's just going to get a couple of normals off here. I think we did get the 6 orbs, right? So she gets the guaranteed 2 extra attacks. Then we have the Dokkan attack for Tech Kale and Kefla. I guess we just don't hit these. We'll still do damage because their attack's going to be so high, but we want to try and get extra attacks in, so we don't want the first one to do too much damage, I suppose. Yeah, that was at like 36 million attack stat. And then they get their guaranteed additional, they're up to 38. And then if we can get the hidden potential here as well, that'll be good. Nice, 39.4. So yeah, basically at 40 million, their next rotation, they should be over 40 million because we're going to have the 2-turn support from Magetta's super attack on the next turn. So the question is, who's going to get locked? We need, like, the God RNG is that he locks Tech Kefla in slot 2. Because I don't want Magetta in slot 1. I want to switch Magetta and Kale. So that Kale's in slot 1 and Magetta's in slot 3. So the only way that that's going to happen is if he locks Kefla in slot 2. So let's see what happens. Hit up to 24 million on his super here. A couple of additional normals. Not ideal, but we're critting, so we're still doing damage. Yeah, see, he locked him in slot 1, which is what I was afraid of. He hasn't taken a super yet. So his passive, he does get 70%. He'll have 70% damage reduction when he takes the first super attack. So if Jiren's hitting for like 6 mil, bear in mind we do also have guard and type advantage anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But 6 million minus 70% means it will do 1.8. And if he's only at 223 start of turn, that means when he gets hit, he goes up to like 660. So he would still take 1 million damage from Jiren's super attack, which is really annoying. So what do we do here? Man, I at least wanted to get Tech Kale and Kefla transformed. I guess we'll just have to just do this. Again, I know it's not something that we can do in the normal showcase setting, because obviously we wouldn't have that extra item to use, but unfortunately, as they say, it is what it is. I want to see the performance of Tech Kefla especially, but that's not something to take away. Like, obviously, you know, we're trying to talk about Universe 6 as a category and how the team is a bit lackluster. Like, this would basically be, unless he doesn't super in slot 1, I guess, but this would be a situation where we would basically just be dead if we didn't have the extra items that we only have because of the private server, right? So that is unfortunate. But yeah, he would have been GG, and that is why, as I've said a million times, and I'm sure I'll say a million times more, that's why rotation locking is my most hated feature of this game. Anytime a boss has rotation locking, especially considering these fights that we've seen a couple now, where like the Frieza and Goku fight had it, going from the Tech 17 into 17 and Frieza, where you have rotation locking that then goes into a dodge cancelling phase. So the game messes up your rotations and then throws you into a phase where your units can't dodge. So if the rotation locking has left it so that the only slot 1 unit you have on that rotation is that a unit that relies on dodge, they can't dodge anymore, so you potentially just lose. Rotation locking potentially still making you lose even after the phase where rotations can't be locked anymore. Pretty crazy. Alright, so these guys are now at 7 million defense. I don't know what the modifier is for type advantage, but like they should tank for double digits, right? And they have a 70% chance to dodge anyway, but yeah, they shouldn't take damage from Jiren's super, I don't think. I mean, we'll see. If they end up dying here, then it is what it is, I guess, but we'll get the orbs for you. I mean, Kefla, STR Kefla's not going to get a chance to attack, let's be fair. So there's the super, which we dodge. I mean, this is the thing, like I said before, right? You can rely on 70% chance to dodge a lot of the time, but you know, it's been a meme ever since UI Goku originally released, right? That just because you have a 70% chance to dodge, the number of times you don't dodge that crucial attack that you needed to dodge in order to live is incredibly annoying. What's also incredibly annoying is when you're dropping 41 million attack stats but you don't crit. So then because of type disadvantage, you basically don't do any damage. We did get the quad super turn for them though, so they're up to 43 million attack stat here, which is kind of wild. And there's the crit as well, we love to see that. So dodges and dodges. Are we going to take any hits here? Okay, we get hit by the AoE, which does double digit damage. Kefla dodges at the end there as well, which is good. And then Kale can finish off Jiren here. So we get onto the final phase, and now this is where we don't have rotation and locking anymore, but dodge is disabled. We floated off STR Kefla on that last turn, so it's going to be a while before she comes back onto the rotation, so that's good. Okay, so we can no longer dodge. The super attack is there. So Jiren, AGL Jiren, his normal attacks do 1 million damage. So in theory, Hit can just go in slot 1 and just tank And then when Hit does his attacks, he'll action break the super attack away. Now Magetta at the end is going to be... Well, he gets to super first. So he should tank the normals. He does have double. I've always forget, like, he has the 600k defense-ish, but he does have damage reduction, 50%. So actually, we don't need to use Hit's time skip here. Or I just do this, right, and Hit just and Kale just tanks the attacks. So I guess we just do that, actually. That makes the most sense. Do that. No need to worry. Because I'm pretty sure, like I say, Hit will tank the normals, and then his by attacking multiple times in the turn, he action breaks the super away anyway. But I suppose there's no need to worry about it when we know Kale will just tank everything. Because remember, when she's got 24 key, she gets 1,584% defense when she gets hit. And of course, we are attacking first, which I think that doesn't really matter, right? She doesn't actually get any defense from her super attack effects. So her attacking first doesn't actually really matter. But yeah, she has an insane amount of defense and guard. And this Jiren doesn't hit as hard as the previous phase, although he does crit. So he does 2.2 million, but he can crit. But he just does double-digit damage to KO anyway. As we've said before, right, I've already done showcase videos for this LR Kale and Kefla. People massively underrating Kale when the details came out. But yeah, like, it's not difficult to get the key with her. And at 24 key, like, at least in terms of the red zones, because obviously in Battle Hard and Formidable Foes, it'll be much more difficult to get Kale out because it's turn 6. But in these red zones, once you get Kale out, if she has 24 key, like, none of the bosses in any of the red zones are doing damage to her, right? So, damn, he still takes 180k from normals, bruh. This is what I mean about the Universe 16, right? Like, that's one of our best options, and that's the kind of damage we take. So, you have 898. By the time you've attacked again, you'll have about 1 million defense with type advantage. So, hopefully, she's going to be fine here. But I think it's, yeah, I think we're at 8.8 million. I think it's about time we fuse into Kefla, especially being on low HP here. We can go ahead and get the one-time 60% heal from fusing into Kefla. So, go ahead and do this here. There we go. And straight to Super Saiyan 2. Alright, so Kefla, of course, start of turn, her defense, she's got 3.2 million. Now, bear in mind, we are on turn 13, but she's got 3.2 million defense. Now, again, this is where people have, like, misread her passive or whatever. This ability is so good that we've seen so many units have recently. When receiving an attack, 200% extra defense. And that means when she gets hit, not she has to get hit first and then she gets the buff for, like, the following attack. It's when she gets hit. So if we plug her defense into the calculator here and then do plus 200%, when she takes the first hit of the turn, so as soon as she gets hit, she actually has 9,761,000 defense. So again, like, there are no red zone bosses that can actually do damage to her. So that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and do this. I should have tried to get 6 orbs. What does she get for 6 orbs? It's extra attack, isn't it? Oh no, she gives allies support. Wow, that's annoying. Maybe I should have just put KO in slot 1. We'll do it. There's no... it doesn't matter. That would actually help with Kefla potentially surviving in slot 3 as well, to be fair. But yeah, guaranteed hit. We didn't get supered, sadly. And then we're at 45 million. And remember that when you fuse into Kefla, she continues to stack attack. You no longer stack defense, but you also greatly raise defense. So her defense is now going up and up. Obviously, there's no more hits after she attacks. But bearing in mind that she's currently at nearly 10 million defense, after that first super attack, I think she's already over 10 mil. And she gets 2 guaranteed additional supers as part of her passive. So at this point, she's well over 10 million defense, potentially even getting close to 11. So, like I say, like, post-attacking as well, she really can't be damaged by, like, any of these red zone bosses. You watch, this will be the first time in, like, I don't know how many runs that I've done in this stage. This will be the one time where Jiren super attacks in slot 3 and kills Tech Kefla. Let's see. I mean, I think we can potentially win next turn because we've got Hit's active skill, which will obviously Ghost Usher the turn, so we don't have to worry about STR Kefla taking any hits, because I'm pretty sure STR Kefla will actually get taken out by normals from AGL Jiren. But let's see what happens here. We need Kefla to do multiple supers in order to get that defense up to the million range. Because he doesn't raise... Oh, he does... Actually, no, he does raise attack on super. I didn't realise. It's 30%. So his normals actually do like 1.3 after he's supered. Which is why Magetta was taking that much damage. But yeah, Kefla still takes double-digit damage. That's the thing. Tech Kefla, like, people say, oh, you know, still well and good, but what about when the enemy disables dodge? And it's like, well, in this phase, it actually doesn't even matter. Also, what is this madness? All of his attacks are in slot 1. So... I don't even need to use Hit's active skill, because we actually can't... Yeah, we can't take damage on this rotation. I mean, we probably should just use it anyway, I guess, because we want this to be... We want to be finishing up here. So let's go ahead and we'll get the 4 key for you. Then we'll get Kefla to use her active skill. Change those orbs.
You're tough. Man, you're tough. But I'm tougher.
You're tough, but I'm tougher. Imagine how like short that fight would have been. Kefla versus full power Jiren. Alright, so go ahead and grab those. 11 orbs for you. And then let's do the time skip with Hit. Doesn't Hit just like power through the time skip? Jiren just power through Hit's time skip as well. I actually can't remember. But yeah, I like the added effect. I don't think people recognise it as much. Like the effect of the fact that he has the action break as well as a Ghost Usher. So it removes that first attack, because a Ghost Usher will, on the next turn, it just makes all the attacks go back in the same place that they were. But because he has an action break as well, it means on the next turn, all the attacks go back to where they would have been on this rotation. But then the first one is also gone, because we did an action break on the thing as well, which is a very, very useful ability. So yeah, Kefla obviously needs to crit here in order to really do damage. 33 million on the additional here. Damn, it's like 20 mil damage crit. I mean, there you go. STR Kefla can still put in work in the damage department. You just got to be... Obviously, that, you know, we could have got unlucky, although we tactically saved Hit's active skill. So, but you can get unlucky where you get a rotation like you don't have Hit, which obviously we planned for that by managing our rotations correctly. But if you don't have Hit on the rotation and you can't keep Kefla out of the way of hit attacks from AGL Jiren, obviously you can just lose. So that's the thing with this team. There are a lot of situations where if the RNG doesn't go your way, then obviously you can just end up losing straight up. But I mean, at least we managed to do it, right? I would consider this Goku story Red Zone stage of the Universe Survival Saga. I consider this one, obviously this one that ends with the AGL Jiren, I still probably consider this one to be like the hardest stage in the game. I mean, Battle Hardened Formidable Foes has its own like thing, right? Let's get the 6 orbs here. Tech Kefla can finish off the run. That's a perfect end for the video. Yeah, so I consider this to be the hardest like Red Zone stage. And I mean, here we are. We had that one unfortunate thing because of the rotation locking where we basically would have been dead without the extra item. So I guess technically you can't call this like... If you loaded into the real game with this exact team, we would have lost this run during the rotation locking phase, unfortunately. But aside from that, we managed to get through, used the Hit active skill. We would have been able to use the Hit active skill had we needed to on that previous turn to stop STR Kefla from actually having to take any damage. So yeah, we're all good. And Tech Kefla here getting these guaranteed additionals up to 57.5 million attack stat here, whilst also being completely invincible, remember. Like she, well, apart from double digits, right? But she can't take damage outside of double digit damage here, while she's also dropping attacks like that. So here comes Jiren with his big bad guaranteed crit super attack, and it does 44 damage to Tech Kefla. And then Kale with the 40, basically 40 million, 39.9. So yeah, 40 million attack stat with the crit. Takes him out, and there you go. So I think that is probably the best build for the Universe 6 team. Magetta is still very meh, but who are you replacing him with? Like STR Kale, unless you keep her on rotation, she's not going to stack quickly enough, and then that's yet another stacker on the team that you have to manage. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Still definitely needs a little bit of work, but the Universe 6 team definitely looking much more competitive now, and the Tech Kale and Kefla EZA, absolutely fantastic. Definitely one of the best units on the team, if not the best unit on the team. I don't know, when you compare them to Hit, like 1-to-1, are they just better than Hit? Maybe. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.